Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, September 24th, just past 10 a.m. We're going live here. We're going to just talk about a few market updates, maybe go through some upcoming events in October. Maybe we'll talk about some good news again. That seemed to be cool last week. And yeah, whatever else we can come up. So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Greg Corbett with the AZ Lifestyle Group right here in Phoenix, Arizona. If this is your first time to this channel and you're looking to find out everything you need to know about what it's like living in and or moving to the Phoenix metro area, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new video. And we're helping people from all over when it comes to finding the best places and neighborhoods to live here, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving here and you need any assistance whatsoever, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, however you want to get a hold of us. We got your back when it comes to moving to the Phoenix metro. All right, so let's bring our good friend and partner in, Rudy with Prime Lending. Rudy, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Top of the morning, sir. How are you?
You got your call. I brought one. I brought one too.
Oh, that's a big cup. There you go.
I think it's big because of the can. It's actually not that big. It's not like Go ahead.
No, that's a supersize.
It's not. Have you seen So I Married an Axe Murderer? I don't know if you remember that. If random reference for anybody, you guys can comment on it if you're watching. So yeah, man. How are things today?
Weather in the mornings, man. The weather has been beautiful. I've started going on morning walks. I usually would get up and go on runs because I just needed to get it out of the way as soon as possible because it was so hot in the mornings. Now I'm actually stopping to quote unquote smell the roses for about 20, 30 minutes and going on walks, taking my daughter out on walks in the morning. It's awesome in the mornings. I'm loving it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It has been awesome. And it's still warm during the day, but the mornings are, and even the evenings, we're getting to that point right now where it's like the warm weather during the day doesn't affect you as negatively, because of, we get these breaks and we get so nice mornings and evenings as well. So no, I hear you. And we've got a good morning. Well, actually good afternoon. Cindy, you must be on the East Coast. We've got good morning from Cindy saying hello to myself and Rudy.
Good morning, Cindy. Afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Cindy. Hopefully weather's treating you good as well. So we're stoked. It's crazy to think a week from now it'll be October. That's kind of our turning point that we typically really start getting into the next 6 months of being the best times here in Arizona. So I know we're both looking forward to it. So if anybody's out there thinking about making a trip out, you're going to be coming at the right time.
Now is the time. That's for sure. And then restaurants are slowly starting to open. There seems to be more of life. When you're going out, everyone's still being very careful, wearing their masks and practicing social distance. But it's nice to see more people out and about.
Yeah. Just to be fair too, I think, and everybody's trying to be a social distant, but I know. I mean. When we went out, we met some of our clients who came into town from Ohio. We'll talk about Rob and Rayanne a little bit, but my wife and I finally had a little date night, which we hadn't had in months, and we went and met with some friends on Saturday night, and we went to one of our favorite places here in the neighborhood, Chelsea's Kitchen here in Arcadia. For anybody
love that place.
And it was nothing was happening. I mean, it took us 2 hours to get a table because they were trying to do the right thing as far as making sure that when people are in. But it was packed, and there's not a ton of mask wearing. I mean, people wear a mask from table to table or whatever. But so it is what it is. It's not super perfect, but thankfully, we're still seeing. I think we're still seeing numbers go down. I haven't really heard anything on the uptick, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's funny to your point. It's funny to see people wearing their mask and their noses are still out.
Yeah,
they're half their lips are covered, the other half are not. But it's just hey, as long as the numbers keep going down and people are being smart and taking care of themselves, then what can you do?
Yeah, yeah. And real quick, Cindy, you're asking, are the summers grueling? Yeah, I mean they
That's a
can
nice
be.
way to put it.
Yeah, they sure can be. I mean, and again, like most of the time, like people come out here and it's like, hey, I mean, it's the first conversation we have with a lot of people, especially when it is during the summer and you're out visiting. It can get very challenging, especially with Rudy and I. We have little ones, and to not be able to take them outside during the summer, it can kind of be a pain in the butt. And as Rudy always mentions all the time, and actually, my wife and I are taking our little daughter up next week to Flagstaff, and just you're 2 hours away from a pretty significant break away from the heat, if not like during the winter, getting up to snow. So in the summertime, when it's 115 here, get up to Flag, you're looking at 85 to 90 degrees as a high, and then kind of lows in the 60s. So there is a way to kind of break away from the heat. But yeah, I mean, we got 4 straight months of 100 plus, and then this year we had 115. 110 or more for like 60 days during the summer. It was a pain in the butt. But a lot of times people are coming from the crazy winters and crazy other stuff that's going on, or humidity. Thankfully, we don't have too much humidity around here, except for a little bit during the monsoon season. But I'll let you jump in, Rudy. What are your thoughts?
Well, Cindy, one of the conversations that my wife and I have recently, or quite commonly or often with folks that aren't originally from Arizona, is that they're either from other states that have really bad winters, to Greg's point, and it's almost like pick your poison type of attitude. I rather go through these grueling summers and have the opportunity to go up to Flagstaff or even San Diego or other parts that have cooler weather during the summertime than to spend winters shoveling snow. So that seems to be the consensus from people that we talk to when it comes to the summer. It's grueling. That is, like, there's no way to minimize that, but there's ways to help kind of relieve yourself from some of that while you're here.
And I think, for most people who are new to Arizona, they don't care and they love it. Like, they're like, hey, I'll take it, versus like people like me. I mean, I've been here since 1993, and so I'm just kind of like to the point where it's like I just like to complain about it, because that's what I like to do. I'm a complainer sometimes, but versus like people who are new to it, it's like it's no big deal. So it depends on who you talk to.
Well, I'm still on the during the summertime, I do complain, but I try to find some silver lining. And, Greg sometimes makes it hard because, it can become a little bit of a complaining session. But he actually does a really good job of just letting me just kind of ramble on about all the great things that you can do that are in their surrounding areas. He makes me feel good when I talk good about how
good
it's
cop,
Flagstaff.
Good cop, bad cop. I don't know. Is that how it would go? I don't know.
Yeah, you let me just kind of just ramble sometimes. So I love it. Thank you for that.
Wow, shoot, I do enough rambling on my end too. And Cindy, I think when you come out here, because like you listen to people like me and say all the shit that I say and apologize, anyway, I'll drop some swear words here and there, but you listen to people like me talk about it, and you get a little scared, and then you listen to other people, you're like, and then you come out here on your own and you'd be like, hey, this ain't that bad. I'm actually fine. And you're saying you're from originally from New York, so you probably deal with a little humidity. I guess it depends on what part of New York, or if you're from the city, maybe get a little bit of humidity, but I'm sure you've dealt with plenty of weather conditions out there that aren't always the fun, between like the wind and just the freezing temps and just being buried in there. So yeah, take the good with the bad on everywhere you go. I think it's only nice all year round in San Diego, and at least we have that 4 or 5 hours away. So
yeah,
you're not
definitely.
too far.
You're right. That's something I realized too. A lot of locals here, they drive over to San Diego for a while, and they might stay for a few weeks or even up to a month or so, just to kind of get away. And Cindy, if you're in New York, you probably have some brutal winters that you might not be a fan of, or maybe you don't care. But yeah, if that's not your thing anymore, the winter life is not your thing, then this might be a good option for you.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I'm sure. Look, I've been to New York a few times. I love the place, so I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's times where you're going to miss certain things and you're going to want to go back and see it. It's a totally different environment, but yeah, it's a different environment, but hopefully you can spend some time at both.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. No, it's always there's always a half glass full scenario and everything, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring this up too, because we're talking about October coming up. We talk about the weather here. I mentioned this in a few videos where it's like you start to see the holidays, and with the heat, sometimes it doesn't really feel like the holidays. But I know Arizona does a good job. I'm going to try to, let me bring something up here real quick. Just like kind of some pumpkin patches that are coming up here, and see what's going on. This is the kind of the stuff that they do in Arizona, which is nice. This is kind of all around the Phoenix metro area. You've got I forget where Dewey is. Do you know where Dewey is? That's probably the only one I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll map it later. But
Yeah.
Schnepp Farms down in Queen Creek, I've been to that one. That is an awesome time down there. They really do a good job. The Flagstaff, I'm sure that's all through October. Anything up in Flagstaff is going to be awesome when it comes to like a little pumpkin patch festival. Marana kind of up a little bit north as well. They've got this Mother Nature's Farm in Gilbert, which is a really cool little spot. We took our daughter there last year for that and did little holiday pictures. That was fun. Mesa has one. Scottsdale. And this one, so the Princess, did you go to the Princess last year when you were here? Have you gone for the Christmas thing they do?
No, we didn't get a chance to, but we're planning on it this year for sure.
Let's see if I'm getting this. I think our faces are blocking on the screen. But the Princess is awesome. Like, that's a cool area. I think this is the first year they're doing it for like a pumpkin festival or October festival. That would be really cool to go to. The Christmas one is fantastic, and then Glendale too is having a little corn maze too. So lots of cool stuff going on for people who are like, hey, like what does Arizona do for kind of this holiday type stuff? And then you keep it going for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and even though the weather is not the typical weather that brings you into the holidays, where you can kind of smell the air changing and smell the snow coming and having the fall leaves change. We try to do some fun stuff here.
Yeah, when the weather's nice, and it's going to be interesting this year now that the weather's getting better, what the turnout will be for these events. I guess you can be on both sides. One is people are going to be just ready to get out the door and go do stuff and enjoy the outdoors, and then you probably have the other camp of folks that are still a little cautious. But
yeah.
Luckily, there's still activities going on. I think it would be terrible news if you would have said that some of this stuff was canceled. I would have hated to hear that. So I'm glad to hear that they're still going on with it.
Yeah, no, and I think, there's still, my wife and I have this conversation all the time. Like, there's still like this potential. You're like, hey, how many people do we want to be around? And are we not taking the right precautions by going back into these larger group environments? I think. You have to I'm ready for it. I feel comfortable in it, but I also don't want to be too comfortable where I'm start making stupid decisions, I guess. You have to have a level of responsibility to not only yourself, but your family and those around you. So, I don't think we're completely out of the woods yet for the whole COVID thing. I think we're going to probably have a little roller coaster ride over the next year or so continuing on, but hopefully, again, things have been rolling in a pretty positive direction, so I'm going to be optimistic, and hopefully we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, the only time will tell, right? And then
Yep.
this is going to be a pivotal time in the year with the winter coming up, and I've heard just talks about the winter season is going to be a really important time to just kind of assess the what's going on, simply because it's flu season. So that's going to be something that I'm sure the medical community is going to keep a very close eye on.
Yeah, no, that'll be huge because it's like you kind of get into that season where there's not only just, it seems like only about everybody's been primarily just worried about COVID, and now we go into a full season where it's like, hey, where we're used to being just hit hard between colds and flus and all that garbage. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, but maybe it won't be. The interesting part is, like, in the potential silver lining is because of all these extra precautions we're taking right now, maybe the flu season isn't as bad this year because people are wearing masks, people are social distancing, they're kind of changing up the school. So I don't know. Maybe it's not as bad as we thought because there's other precautions in place. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point.
So we'll see. We'll see. We talked a little bit before the video. I know you wanted to spend a little bit of time on this. We won't go too crazy into it, but I know we're still having a crazy amount of activity in here. People are wondering like, hey, what's going to happen in the future? What's going on with rates? So take a little time and kind of talk to people about that a little bit, Rudy, if you can.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. Over the last few weeks, really over the last month, a lot of my conversations have been around what is my opinion on where rates are going to go. And, a lot of my clients that are either refinancing or maybe they're building a home, so they're months out, or maybe they're still looking and they're not sure, if they don't find a house now, they find a house in a few months, kind of what their situation might differ from. And so the question of where the rates are going to go, I'm asked almost on a daily basis. And really, there's a couple of points to that question, a couple of answers to it. And one is rates are going to go up or down for reasons that might not have presented themselves. As we talked about here going into the winter season, there's going to be some COVID news coming up. There's going to be some possible vaccine-related news that will come up, and even some economic recovery as we're entering the fourth quarter of the year that could potentially move the markets. And then obviously there's the election that's coming up, and that's a cloud on the horizon that is more than likely going to bring some uncertainty into the market. So we've got that on the horizon that we're not sure what's really to be expected. And a lot of mortgage lenders have 2016 engraved into their memories because when Trump was elected, there was a lot of movement in the markets. Yeah. Simply because he was different, he was new, and that tends to happen with the stock market or even the bond market when there's just a lot of uncertainty. There's volatility that follows that. And the general consensus is that this year, if he is reelected, more than likely that will not be the case. More than likely, because obviously he's the known of the two candidates, more than likely it's just going to be what we have now. And that's the consensus. Now, if Biden wins, that obviously poses an opportunity for more market volatility because he's the unknown of the two. And so what we're seeing is that there's two sides of the story that I'm having conversations with clients. One, I'm having conversations with clients who feel that there's going to be a lot of volatility leading up to the election, and then I've got clients that think it's just kind of a wait and see game. And based on the facts, the market has been really flat over the last month. The bond market, which is a result, the interest rates, which is a result of the bond market. So over the last 3-4 weeks, interest rates have been relatively flat. They really haven't moved up or down in a substantial way. So what that leads us to believe is that bond traders are just kind of waiting and see what other bond traders are going to do. And also waiting to see what the composition of the legislature is going to be like, because if one party controls everything, then that makes passing laws easier, for example, or which can impact government spending, which can impact stimulus programs that are going to help us bounce back from COVID, and that ultimately will impact interest rates. So long story short, there's a lot of ifs and whens and maybes that are going to lead up to the election. As it relates to the geopolitical scene that will impact rates. So I think right now,
all the stuff you're saying just makes my head spin just listening because there's so much going on. I mean, I can't even imagine like being in your position and trying to keep up with all of it because there's like so many factors that makes the change, and then trying to explain it to people because I don't know, it just sounds like a tornado.
It does. And luckily, I think right this second, as of today, when we're filming this video, if your position is more of a risk adverse, where you're not necessarily willing to kind of play the game or float, if you're happy with your interest rate today, then there's no harm in locking it. I really don't think that you're going to like kick yourself if you lock. If you are more risk tolerant, and you're willing to roll the dice leading up to the election, then I think you just need to have a close eye on the market. And I don't think you're going to really run this huge risk if you decide to float. So it's really based on your own personal preference, because as of right now, the facts are that the market has been flat, and it looks like it will remain flat leading up to the election. Now, once it's done, then all bets are off.
I hear you. We got a good morning from Chip over to Arizona Insider. Good morning, Chip. How are you, brother? Look at this. Rudy is a real life Bill Paxton tornado hunter. I like that. That's a callback to Twister. That's a callback to Twister, I believe. Is that the name of the movie? Chip, I think it's Twister you're talking about. That was a good movie, by the way. I think was that in the 90s or something? I don't even know.
Yeah, man, that was an oldie but a goodie. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I think I might have a VHS tape of that movie here somewhere in my parents' basement.
I like callbacks like that because it makes you want to watch that stuff. You're like, hey, I want to search that, see if I can find it on the streaming service right now. And maybe you pay $2 or $3 to watch it, but you get some entertainment. It'll make me go off on another tangent on all the garbage that we see on the streaming services right now. But good times. But all right, you're gonna be the Bill Paxton tornado hunter.
Yeah,
I love it.
We'll see how that.
Yep.
How well that.
Twister. There we go. Hey, for anybody watching, we don't have tornadoes in Arizona. Well, at least nothing substantial. I think I actually saw like a small one in Casa Grande one time, like when I was down there. It didn't really do anything, but yeah, good stuff.
We have the what are they called? The haboobs and what is it? Monsoons.
Yes,
yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
The monsoons are they're. I mean, it's dusty, it's windy, and when they get to be the size level of a haboob, then it's like it's pretty insane from a point of view of like, hey, that's a pretty massive dust storm coming our way. But typically, like you don't like to drive in it per se, but. We haven't had too much of that the last couple of years.
No, and they seem to move. Well, I think there was a small monsoon here about a month or two ago, and it just seems to move pretty fast. We were at home, and I just remember seeing it kind of brewing a little bit in the distance, and then I look up, or I went in to grab a cup of water or something, and I go back to the window 2 minutes later, and it's like literally almost at our house, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
how fast it moved.
They do move fast. Some of these storms were sometimes you like kind of want them to stick around a little bit. We haven't had we haven't had rain for and we've gotten a little overcast. It looks like it's like maybe it's going to rain because hey, we don't see it very often, so I'll take it whenever we get a chance. We could use a little bit more here. So maybe as we get into October, I know last fall we got a little bit more rain than what we remember seeing. So I don't know. We'll see. For anybody who doesn't like rain, welcome to Arizona. You'll be in good shape here.
This is a perfect place for you if you do not like rain.
Yeah, you'll be good. Go ahead.
Whenever I talk to some of my friends in other states, it's interesting because I tell them, you know what? I don't know what a bad weather day looks like. Like we get up in the morning and it's sunny, whether it's 115 or 85 degrees. It's just sunny and it's beautiful 99.99% of the time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when I talk to friends in Houston, who sometimes are victims, unfortunately, of hurricanes in that area, or other parts of the country that have pretty extreme weathers. They don't like to hear me talk about the weather here too often, just because it's pretty much the same. It just literally is.
It's boring. But I guess to a positive, because it's like, shoot, like everybody, we're surrounded by obviously everybody on the West Coast between California and Oregon, Washington, them going through fires. We have our share of like fires that come through, but they just don't hit like any of the major towns. Like you might have one time it like goes and hits like a, maybe some small house like out in the boonies somewhere, but like you don't have the substantialness of what they've been going through on that. And the weather-wise too, kind of like, whether it's East Coast in the winter storms or tornadoes or hurricanes or flooding, we have maybe like a little bit of issues when we get these crazy monsoons, which again we haven't seen very often, but they'll bring in a lot of rain at one time, short period. It's dry here, so it doesn't soak into the ground as well. That causes a little flooding. That's typically the only excitement, and then the news goes crazy, and it's like monsoon 2020, and it's like a disaster hit. They love to run with that.
Yeah, it's funny when there's all the news channels have their own like storm chaser that's reporting live at the scene
Yeah.
of the storm, and it's like
Yeah.
barely sprinkling outside, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal here.
And it's always funny to see some of the fake news where it's like you see people like they'll like go stand in like waist height water and say that the street's flooding or something. I don't know, who knows,
Right.
but it's the news.
Right.
News.
We were in Flagstaff a month and a half, 2 months ago with my in-laws who live in Dallas, and it was raining for, I think, 1 or 2 days. It rained for maybe 20 minutes each day. And my wife and I were so happy to see rain. And my daughter, she was so happy to see rain too, because she's only seen rain maybe like a handful of days in her life. And both my in-laws, they were bummed out because it was raining and we couldn't get a chance to go outside. So it just reminds you of the perspective of different weathers depending on where you live.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cool. I guess we get lost in these conversations. Hopefully, people and again, Cindy and Chip, appreciate you guys chiming in with some questions and doing like that. I'm trying to think from anybody else who's watching, whether they're watching right now or they're watching later, anything we can chime in on. I wanted to congratulate Rob and Rihanna. You know, they reached out to us a couple weeks ago. We got on a Zoom call. You know, we connected. They were going to make the trip out this last weekend. We were able to spend the whole weekend with them. Really, really great couple, and they've got 4 kids. Was able to meet their daughter Isabel as well, and you know they weren't planning on, and they're still not planning on moving out here until next year. But we went and looked at a ton of houses. They weren't planning on doing anything. They just wanted to see some neighborhoods. And there was one that was extremely special that they decided to pull the trigger on. We just got under contract yesterday, so I want to say congrats to them. If you guys got through the 27 minutes of time that we've been through this and watching this, want to say congrats to you guys. They've been awesome. But for anybody who's watching, like, we'll try to make the process easier for you. There's no pressure. It's just basically call and have the conversation with us. Let us know how we can help you, and then we'll do whatever we can and try to guide you in the right direction. If it's the right time now, great. If it's later on, that's great. It's all about trying to figure out what makes sense and being prepared for if that situation comes up where you're like, hey, this is the place, I'm ready to be here.
Yeah, and Greg and I love what we do, and just to piggyback, Greg, yeah, congrats to Rob and Rihanna for finding a home that they loved and for trusting us to help them with that. And you know, we look forward to helping more people just like that, because this can be a scary move, especially if you're relocating from another state. And you know, having Greg and I there, you know, you watch our videos, you obviously can get a sense of our personality and how much we love this. I think helps, because then that way you're not just calling a total stranger on the other line that you know, that's going to lead you to one of the biggest purchases of your life. So hopefully Greg and I can continue to help you guys, and we love doing it. Yeah,
it's so important to kind of get to know who you're going to be working with and kind of figure out like what makes sense. So that's why I think, you know, the goal of these videos is to provide that to you guys so you have a little heads up, and so you're not kind of coming out here flying blind, and not really sure of who you're going to be trusting, putting your faith in. So, you know, hopefully this type of stuff helps. I know it's fun for us to do because we can be ourselves, and you know, like whoever we connect with, it's our personality you're going to get to know. And for the people that like us, that's awesome. And if people don't like us, then no worries. That's all good too. We're not gonna. I'm sure be a fit for everybody. But hey, it's all good.
Absolutely. No, very well said.
We're going on a half hour right now. Won't want to take up too much of time for everybody else. Cindy, Chip, if you have any other questions, if you want to chime in, I think Cindy mentioned that her oldest son will be graduating college in May. Number one, congratulations. That's awesome. And you're still trying to convince him to move to Arizona. I can totally understand that. I'm sure you know, everybody's like, maybe not. So if we can help guide you and him in the right direction, we'll do that. But congrats on the graduation coming up. Hopefully it's a smooth year through the rest of the year, and it's an enjoyable last 5-6 months to get to graduation for him.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. My daughter's 2. I can't even fathom the idea of her graduating from high
Yeah.
school. It's we just put her in school a couple weeks ago, and that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
I shed a little tear to watch her just kind of walk away into someone else's arms. But yeah, no, congratulations, Cindy. That's great news.
Yeah. Awesome. Any parting thoughts? I think I'm actually going to be heading up to Flagstaff next week. I'm going to try to make this work where I can jump on next Thursday. We'll see if we can happen. If for whatever reason I've got technical difficulties, then maybe we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. But we've got Chip and I did a Verado video a couple weeks ago. That'll be hitting tomorrow. We went and toured around Paradise Valley last week, so that will probably come out next week. So look for those 2 completely different places, both awesome. But we're gonna try to get some more of those going. Maybe Rudy and I will try to set up a time to go out and tour some other neighborhoods as well. That's always a good time too. So any other things you can think of before we let everybody go for today?
No, just let us know, guys, how we can help you out. I'm slammed right now with month-end stuff, but I'm always available if you ever need anything as it relates to maybe relocating here. So please reach out to Greg and I. We're happy to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a thank you from Cindy, biochemistry major. Holy crap!
Wow,
he's a smart guy.
Yes, yeah, we need to get him on the call here and enlighten us with some of his knowledge. That'd
Absolutely,
be awesome.
no, that's I'm sure that's been a lot of hard work.
Yeah, congrats.
And then Chip, real quick, we're probably gonna have to bail, but we'll hit this because I think this is a good question. I think we're gonna hit this as far as recommendations for first time home buyers on as far as a question for you, Rudy. Let's table that. Let's save that. And I want to say congrats, number one, to Chip. He was supposed to get married back in March, and the whole COVID thing hit, and he's finally able to get married next week. We're super excited for him. That's happening next week. So, Chip, congrats to you and your fiance. That's awesome news. We're super stoked to hear that. So thanks again, you guys, for watching. Enjoy your Thursday. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you guys on the next show. Take care, everybody.